Okay, let's unpack this because I was really struck by something in the sales experts. It hits on a challenge, a kind of silent one, that I think a lot of you face, especially if you're in sales leadership. Have you ever felt that? That sudden, surge of frustration or that knot of anxiety, even like crippling fear right when you need it to be sharpest. Could be before a massive sales pitch, maybe a really high stakes negotiation, or heck, even just dealing with awful traffic on the way to a key client meeting. We've all been there, right?
Absolutely.
So what if? What if a lot of what we're trying to achieve, that next level of sales growth, better team performance, just being a more decisive leader, what if it's actually blocked? Not by the market, not by competitors, but by our own internal stuff. Fears, emotions we haven't managed. We're talking real, tangible barriers here. Barriers to sales success, to effective leadership. So today we're doing a deep dive into this really powerful insight from the sales experts. It promises a, surprisingly simple way to start dismantling these emotional roadblocks. Could really unlock some performance.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? How much we know logically that we shouldn't let emotions just hijack everything, especially in professional settings. Yet they do consistently. And this deep dive based on this piece, it doesn't just say, yeah, emotions interfere. No, it gets into the why our logic seems to just, fail us sometimes. And then crucially, it introduces a solution, a really effective one, it seems, for anyone, especially in sales or leadership, who wants to get a better handle on those reactions in high-pressure moments.
Yeah, and the author, they share this really relatable bit about their own experience being stopped cold by fear or a surge of emotion. That's the quote. They even mention having this, quote, strong sense of justice, which, looking back, they realized was maybe more like self-righteousness. It made them want to confront people. But ultimately, it was not helpful, they say, for actually getting things done. Now, this isn't just, one person's struggle. It mirrors so many things we see professionally, right? Especially in sales. Think about a sales leader trying to stay cool when a client negotiation goes sideways, or an executive having that tough chat about missed targets. How often do those internal emotional knee-jerk reactions just derail what should be logical, strategic even?
Exactly. And the core disconnect, the author points out, is, it's critical to understanding this. Logic, right, that lives in our conscious mind, we can access that, reason with it. But emotions, they're deep. They're in the subconscious. And that's where, and this is a direct quote again, every fear, every hurt, every rejection we've ever felt is stored. It's like this huge personal archive just sitting there. So when something happens now, maybe a client pushes back unexpectedly, your subconscious isn't just dealing with that. Oh no, it's instantly scanning like years of stored stuff, related feelings, old wounds. Think about the examples, but let's frame them for sales. A seasoned sales pro, maybe 40 years old, suddenly develops this intense fear of cold calling. The source suggests, maybe it links back to some humiliating moment in first grade giving a presentation. Sounds wild, but or a leader sees a minor setback in the pipeline and suddenly there's this huge wave of anger or despair. Seems way out of proportion, right? Well, the mind might be connecting that tiny event to every single time they felt disrespected or maybe powerless, going way, way back.
This is why people overreact. It's not about the now. It's about, quote, years of stored up emotion getting triggered. Now, for you as a sales leader, this isn't just some abstract psych theory. It's a diagnostic tool. See a top performer freeze in a negotiation. This insight helps you look past the immediate behavior, maybe see the root emotional trauma that's actually blocking them, or blocking you even.
Mm-hmm. And that really sheds light on why the usual advice often falls flat. The author says it so plainly. Self-control doesn't work against fear. How many times have we been told to just tough it out or fight the feeling, just push through?
Right.
But the source argues that when we try to fight it or tough it out, we actually make that emotional pathway stronger. It reinforces it. It becomes this vicious loop. Willpower fails because it focuses on the struggle itself. It's like that diet analogy the author uses, why most diets rebound. The constant tension, the fight, it creates this loop, not a real solution. You're not actually dealing with the underlying trigger. You're just, wrestling with the feeling itself, adding pressure.
Yeah, and that thinking extends to that whole feel the fear and do it anyway mantra, which, look, sometimes it does get you through the door, right? You make the call, you give the talk.
Mm-hmm.
But as the author points out, it doesn't always change how we feel inside. All it really teaches us often is how to tolerate being uncomfortable, not how to actually heal or resolve the root cause. So the real issue, those old patterns, they're just lurking, waiting for the next stressful moment to pop back up. As the author puts it, our emotional reactions become hardwired. They're ingrained, deeply, ready to fire off. And if those internal battles are always simmering, it makes sustained sales success, that consistent high performance, really challenging. It's like, yeah, treating symptoms forever without touching the disease.
That is a tough pill to swallow, isn't it? That trying to muscle through can actually lock the problem in place. So, okay, if battling these emotions just makes them stronger, what actually works? What's the alternative this author is suggesting? Is there really a simpler way, something that can help us, in sales and leadership break these cycles?
There is. And it's based on this fantastic analogy the author uses, which really simplifies things. They say, when it comes to subconscious emotions, we're all like children.
Mm-hmm.
And the solution apparently lies in that simplicity. Think about it. A 2-year-old falls, scrapes their knee, starts wailing,
Right.
total meltdown.
Yeah.
But then you distract them, jangle some keys, show them a bright toy, and boom, tears stop, they're laughing maybe. The fear, the pain, it's just gone. Poof, their attention got diverted. Our subconscious, surprisingly, works in a really similar way. If you can disrupt that link, that connection to the old feeling, early in the process, the emotion just loses its power. It fizzles out.
Okay, like interrupting the signal.
Exactly. And to explain it a bit more, the author uses another image.
Mm-hmm.
Think of your subconscious like a massive filing cabinet, just huge.
Yeah.
And every emotion you've ever felt, embarrassment, betrayal, fear, anger, joy, everything, it has its own drawer, its own file. So let's say a sales leader gets asked to present at the big annual conference. Their mind doesn't just go, okay, new task. It might instantly yank open the fear drawer, and suddenly it's serving up every scary, maybe humiliating public speaking memory they have, flooding them with all those accumulated feelings, not just the mild nervousness about this talk, or, a client makes a minor complaint. It seems trivial, but it could trigger the disrespect drawer or the failure drawer, connecting to years of baggage every time they felt wronged or underestimated.
And it's so important to grasp that it's not logical because it can't be. That's key, right? The subconscious isn't playing by logic's rules.
Not at all.
It deals in patterns, associations. We can be perfectly rational 99% of the time. But the second one of those emotional buttons gets pushed, maybe a negotiation takes a sharp, unexpected turn. Reason just flies out the window. It's like the author's analogy. Turning on the kitchen tap for a drink and getting hit with a waterfall instead.
Yeah.
The reaction is completely disproportionate. Because that button isn't wired to the current situation. It's wired to those deep, old emotional files. And this is just critical for sales leaders, isn't it? You need that calm, objective perspective under pressure. You can't ford the waterfall.
Absolutely not. And here's another piece that feels really freeing, I think. You don't need to spend years in therapy tracing every single emotional reaction back to its origin point in kindergarten. The author makes this compelling case that honestly, many of those stored emotions, they might not even be accurate representations of what happened. Some are distortions. Some are based on perceived slights that maybe weren't even intended that way. The big takeaway here is we don't need to relive them. We don't need to analyze them to death. We just need to interrupt the loop now, in the present, which means actionable change is possible without years of digging. Think about the time that saves for busy leaders. That's huge.
Okay, right. This is where it gets really practical for leaders, for sales professionals. The sales experts lays out this simple 4-step solution, concrete actions. It's about shifting from being reactive to proactive with these emotions. And the claim is this directly supports better sales outcomes, better leadership.
Exactly. So step 1, recognize the illogic. This is a conscious step. You actively understand and accept that there's no rational reason to be terrified of public speaking or to dread making that important sales call. There's no logical basis for letting a tough negotiation make you furious or for holding on to resentment about a lost deal for weeks. It's not about denying the feeling. It's about consciously reframing it, seeing its irrational root. For you as a leader, this is powerful, facing that fear of rejection before a pitch. Pause. Recognize. This fear isn't logical based on this call. It's old programming. That simple recognition starts to loosen its grip.
Okay, that makes sense. Step 1, see it for what it is, illogical. Then step 2 is commit to change. And this isn't just like wishing it were different. It's a firm decision, a conscious choice. You decide, okay, this specific emotion, this fear, this anger, this anxiety, it doesn't actually help me. It doesn't serve my goals or my team. You make a clear, almost strategic commitment. My professional life, maybe even in my personal life, will be stronger, calmer, better without this. Imagine a sales team where everyone actively commits to shedding that fear of rejection or that defensiveness. Think about the potential shift in, say, sales velocity.
Right. It's intentional.
Yeah.
Now, step 3, this is the real practical core of it. Create a connection breaker. This is your personal mantra, a short, simple, positive phrase. Its only job is to interrupt that emotional pattern before your subconscious digs up all the old junk. It works, as the author says, just like a toy distracts a toddler. Simple redirection. It diverts the subconscious mind's attention away from the trigger. The source gives a few examples. Your mantra could be, I love strawberries. Sounds maybe a bit silly, but the point is it's unrelated and positive. Or let it go. Or maybe I'm in control.
Yeah.
It works because it literally it reroutes your brain for a second, away from the trigger onto something neutral or positive.
Okay, like a mental pattern entering.
Precisely. And the author shares their own personal one, which is peace be with you. They explain how they use it. Anytime they feel that trigger could be a difficult client, a frustrating team interaction, even just a memory of a past screw-up popping up, they silently just repeat that phrase, peace be with you. They do it while driving if someone cuts them off, during tense conversations, when old resentments bubble up, and that short phrase, they claim, it just breaks the chain. The subconscious doesn't get the chance to go rummaging in the emotional archives. The emotion gets neutralized right there, in the moment. Prevents the waterfall.
And the positivity is key, right? You stress that. The author warns, don't use something like don't get angry.
Exactly. Because that focuses on the very thing you're trying to avoid. It actually reinforces the anger pathway. Your connection breaker needs to be positive. A positive statement, a positive image, something to create that beneficial disruption, that rerouting.
Got it. Positive mantra. So step 4.
Step 4 is simple but crucial. Repeat until it's habit. It's all about consistency. You use your chosen mantra. Every single time you feel that trigger starting up, you just keep doing it until those old automatic patterns start to dissolve. It's like training any other skill you need for sales success, isn't it? Learning your product, perfecting your pitch, mastering the CRM. Repetition builds the new pathway. This isn't a magic bullet, one-time fix. It's a practice, a sustained effort that genuinely rewires your emotional responses over time. Builds real resilience.
The results the author claims are, well, they're pretty striking. They say they no longer feel anger. Not that they manage it better, but they just don't feel it. They no longer push through fear because it no longer appears. Imagine that. And even past hurts, old wounds, they feel like someone else's story. I mean, think about the impact for a sales leader, for their team. If that fear of rejection, that fear of failure just wasn't a factor anymore, that's a profound shift. It feels like it could directly lead to more consistent success and definitely a calmer, more effective way of leading.
And the potential application for everyone listening, whether you're leading a huge sales org, you're an executive, maybe an ambitious individual contributor, it's incredibly broad. The author is clear. This technique can work for any ingrained pattern. They mention stress eating, drinking, anxiety, guilt, anything that's become a learned automatic response to an emotional trigger. The core idea is powerful because we learned, mostly unconsciously, to connect these things, these reactions to certain trends. We can unlearn them too. It offers this really hopeful path. Not just coping, but actually eliminating some of that internal friction that holds back performance, holds back sales velocity.
Okay, so we've really dug into this powerful idea from the sales experts. And now, well, here's the call to action. Straight from the source. Give it a try. Seriously, the author suggests just try it for one day. That's it. See what happens. The next time someone pushes your buttons, maybe you are stuck in traffic or dealing with some small annoyance, or importantly, maybe during a challenging sales call or a tense team meeting, just try it. Silently repeat your chosen positive mantra. Remember the author's example. Peace be with you. Or pick your own. Let it go. All good. Whatever works.
Yeah, just see what shifts internally. Notice the change, however subtle, in your emotional response. And if it works, and the author is very confident saying it works every time, well, then keep going. It's presented as maybe the simplest thing you can do to really start transforming your emotional landscape.
Which should lead to more clarity, more focus, more effectiveness. So here's the final thought to maybe leave you with, something to mull over. What old pattern, what specific deeply wired emotional reaction is it? Frustration with process, anxiety before big asks, maybe that flash of anger when challenged. What reaction, if you could neutralize it using this simple technique, could unlock a whole new level of sales success or leadership effectiveness for you, for your team? Worth thinking about. This has been The Deep Dive. Till next time, keep exploring.